Kanye apology. And I did want to quickly look at Kanye's ad he took out to the Wall Street Journal apologizing. Did want to take a look at this. You and Who's Amy says, I'm sure he's very sincere and it has nothing to do with the fact that he's got a new album coming out on Friday. I did not know that, but that already. My antenna went up around this announcement anyway. And my son was showing me a video last night of, so I guess this was the fallout of all the stuff that happened with those kick streamers, Sneeko, and I don't even want to. I hate those people so much. I really do. Myron and Sneeko and these other people whose names I wish I didn't even know, and how they had all gotten banned from most organizations involved in Miami nightlife because they were singing Kanye's HH song and doing Nazi salutes, and they were all saying a lot. Apparently these, a couple of them are white, a couple of them are like ethnically ambiguous, whatever. They had chosen to do this, and for some of them there seemed to be consequences, right? Because apparently, unbeknownst to them, a lot of those hospitality agencies that they deal with that sort of control access into Miami nightlife are apparently some of those organizations are owned by Jewish people who are quite offended that these people were singing HH and doing Nazi salutes in their establishments. And in the middle of all this, because my son is showing me a video of a commentary YouTuber reacting to all of this, he puts up another tweet, and I think it's from this Kirko thing, where it was saying that Kanye was upset about the situation because he's trying to move away from past controversies. And that made me laugh. And it sort of lines up with this. And I didn't know that there was an album coming, but it did feel like, what's the word? Ironic that he doesn't want people to publicly say the lyrics to a song that he made and promoted that was full of anti-Semitism that nobody made him do. Nobody made him write it, record it, produce it, put it out. And now the sort of people that you would think he was wanting to encourage to engage with this sort of song were doing it. And he's like, no, don't do that. I want to move away from that. That's crazy talk. And I shouldn't say crazy talk, especially given what he says in this very statement. There are a lot of facts or characteristics that he shares about his mental health in this Wall Street Journal ad apologizing for his behavior. But if all of this is under the guise of a rollout, I can't say that I can. Well, okay, let me say this before any of it. There's not a world where, like, it doesn't matter what's in here, really. There's not a world where there's one statement that would somehow put him back in everyone's good graces, considering all of the wild things he said over the past decade. There's like, if you want to talk about redemption, if you want to talk about a path to redemption, if you want to talk about some steps that can be taken, I think that's a conversation to be had, right? Like there's a start in there somewhere. But I truly hope him or nobody around him thinks that with one statement, he could somehow erase all of that decade of jive. I hope he doesn't think that. But I do want to read through it. Okay. Ye took out a Wall Street Journal ad to apologize for past anti-Semitic remarks. In an open letter paid for by Yeezy, Ye apologized for his past remarks which he claimed stemmed from neurological damage after a 2002 car crash. Now, we all remember the car crash and Through the Wire and everything that resulted from that. To those I've heard, 25 years ago, I was in a car accident that broke my jaw and caused injury to the right frontal lobe of my brain. At the time, the focus was on the visible damage, the fracture, the swelling, and the immediate physical trauma. The deeper injury, the one inside my skull, went unnoticed. Comprehensive scans were not done. Neurological exams were limited. And the possibility of a frontal lobe injury was never raised. It wasn't properly diagnosed until 2023, so 3 years ago. The medical oversight caused serious damage to my mental health and led to my bipolar type 1 diagnosis. So right there, I have a tough time with the notion that comprehensive scans were not done. Neurological exams were limited. I mean, he wasn't as rich as he would go on to be right then, but he was a very important person in a musical movement that had a lot of money behind him. So I find it hard to believe that he wouldn't have gotten the best care back then. I have a hard time believing that. Bipolar disorder comes with its own defense system. Denial. When you're manic, you don't think you're sick. You think everyone else is overreacting. You feel like you're seeing the world more clearly than ever, when in reality, you're losing your grip entirely. Once people label you as crazy, you feel as you cannot contribute anything meaningful to the world. It's easy for people to joke and laugh it off, when in fact, this is a very serious, debilitating disease you can die from. According to the World Health Organization at Cambridge University, people with bipolar disorder have a life expectancy that is shortened by 10 to 15 years on average, and 2 to 3 times higher all-cause mortality rate than the general population. This is on par with severe heart disease, type 1 diabetes, HIV, and cancer, all lethal, all fatal if left untreated. The scariest thing about this disorder is how persuasive it is when it tells you you don't need help and makes you blind, but convinced you have insight. You feel powerful, uncertain, unstoppable. I lost touch with reality. Things got worse the longer I ignored the problem. I said and did things I deeply regret. Some of the people I loved the most, I treated the worst. You endure fear, confusion, humiliation, and the exhaustion of trying to have someone who was at times unrecognizable. Exhaustion of trying to have someone who was at times unrecognizable. I don't know if I understand the syntax there. Looking back, I became detached from my true self. In that fractured state, I gravitated toward the most destructive symbol I could find, the swastika. Whew. There's a lot of symbols you can stop on before you get to the swastika. In that fractured state, I gravitated towards the most destructive symbol I could find. Even sold t-shirts bearing it. One of the most difficult aspects of having bipolar type 1 are the disconnected moments, many of which I can still cannot recall. Wow. That led to poor judgment and reckless behavior that oftentimes feels like an out-of-body experience. I regret and am deeply mortified by my actions in that state and committed to accountability, treatment, and meaningful change. It does not excuse what I did, though. I am not a Nazi or an anti-Semite. I love Jewish people. Oof. Oh, see, yeah. And all of this makes you recall some of the vile things that he said, and some of these actions. And another tough thing to sort of contend with in this too is that he sort of sounded like he's just realized a lot of these things. But in all of his outbursts over all of these years, you can see people that he cared about who are also in the public eye pleading with him, telling him these very things. John Legend, his ex-wife, Kim Kardashian, like, people were begging him to see the very notions that he sort of arrived at seemingly suddenly. And it's just tough to believe that all of those people close to him would be saying these very things, that he would never listen to it. That seems like a tough pill to swallow. And for you to suddenly act like now you see it so clearly. To the black community, which held me down through all of this, no, that's not. That is a mischaracterization, sir. I think you've lost a lot of the black community. And that's what I'm saying. I hope you don't still think you have it. Like, because previous to any of this, he said slavery was a choice, and he lost plenty of black people then. I hope that's not how we're seeing it. Through all of the highs, lows, darkest of times, the black community is unquestionably the foundation of who I am. I'm sorry to let you down. I love us. In early 2025, I fell into a 4-month-long manic episode of psychotic, paranoid, impulsive behavior that destroyed my life. As the situation became increasingly unsustainable, there were times I didn't want to be here anymore. Having bipolar disorder is a notable state of constant mental illness. When you go into a manic episode, you are ill at that point. You are not in an episode. When you are not in an episode, you are completely normal. And that's when the wreckage from the illness hits the hardest, hitting rock bottom. A few months ago, my wife encouraged me to finally get it. Who is his wife now? It's because he doesn't. I thought, what's the lady's name that was in Uncut Gems and in him? Because they got divorced, I felt like, or I thought she left him. I didn't realize. Oh, Bianca Censor, a whole different person. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. Got you. Encouraged me to finally get help. This is after many people encouraged him to finally get help. I have found comfort in Reddit forums of all places. What a fucked up sentence that is. What a bad thing. I have found comfort in Reddit forums. My God. Oh. It's like, anyway, different people speak of being manic or depressive episodes in a similar nature. I read their stories and realized I was not alone. It's not me who ruins their entire life once a year despite taking meds every day and being told by the best of so-called doctors in the world that I'm not bipolar, but merely experiencing symptoms of autism. So is he not? I mean, is he all of these things? Is he none of these things? Like, well, I guess he's saying that he is bipolar because of brain damage. And I guess he's rejecting notions that he's autistic. My words as a leader in my community have global impact and influence. You're no longer a leader in any community that I can recognize. Like, that's the thing. The community he seemed to be wanting to lead was Sneeko and Fuentes and Myron and them. That was the community he seemed to want to ingratiate himself to. He seemed to want to be buddies with Trump more than he wanted to be part of the black community. So I hope he doesn't, like, he was a leader when he was speaking up for black people during Hurricane Katrina. When people felt like he was bravely speaking up for marginalized people. Not when he was throwing it all away behind a red hat or selling t-shirts with swastika. Like, who are you leading? In my mania, I completely lost sight of that. As I find my new baseline and center through an effective regime of medication, therapy, exercise, and clean living, I've newfound much needed clarity, pouring my energy into positive, meaningful art, music, clothing, design, and other new ideas to help the world. I'm not asking for sympathy or a free pass. That's good, because ain't no free passes coming. Though I aspire to earn your forgiveness. I write today simply to ask for your patience and understanding as I find my way home with love. Yay. So, like I said, if all of this is because he's got an album to come out that he wants to be warmly received, then my instinct is to reject all of this outright. But either way, what I hope for deepest is that he's having conversations with his children that are this type of tone. That's what I hope. Because, like, this is a letter begging the world for forgiveness. But what I've always felt most heartbroken about in his situation, even though he was hurting marginalized people, was I felt bad for his kids. It is so tough to be a person in this world anyway. And it's tough to be a person when you have parents that are public figures, I mean, obviously they're comfortable economically, but when one of your parents is engaging in the sort of public behavior that he was engaged in, I couldn't imagine the damage that he was doing to their lives. Like, he was trying to put his daughter on a song with Diddy. This was like last year. This was not years ago. He's talking about he got this diagnosis in 2023. Last year, after Diddy was arrested, he was trying to put his daughter on a song with Diddy. Like, I can't imagine the damage, the emotional upheaval of having a person capable of that type of shit as a parent. And not only to have that, but to have it be so public. So he's writing this letter to the world, and I think he's got a real long way to get back in most people's good graces, especially anybody he hurt. But what I'm hoping is that he is able to use this sort of introspective, accountable, and caring tone and have these conversations and try to repair his relationships with his children. I hope that more than anything. And that is all I got to say about that. Like and subscribe, homie, friend. It's free. Stop playing.